Greetings, all you maniacs, minds, Sonic Rhymes, and recently, the first Descendant finally came out in full. There's no more betas, there's no more playtests or anything. It's just here now. So, what are my thoughts of the first Descendant? I have like 10 or so hours in it. I'm checking right now. Yep, 12.3 hours. What are my thoughts? So, it's a fun game. It is. But the story and the dialogue is just not the greatest. But, I mean, this kind of game, the story is sort of a secondary thing. Warframe made it work because I think some of the Warframe storylines are actually pretty good. The lore is very convoluted, but it's not bad. But who knows? The first Descendant could get a full rewrite and then just be like an amazing sci-fi story. But right now, it's just sort of humanity's near extinction. There's a MacGuffin. We need to get the MacGuffin before the bad guys, or we all die. It's that trope. It's like Halo, but with Halo, it wasn't really a MacGuffin. It was more of a installation super weapon. Regardless, the story isn't important. How's the gameplay? Now, before anybody asks, yes, you are not seeing gameplay in the background. I will get to that in a moment. How is the gameplay? It's your basic standard hero style looter shooter. Descendants are effectively, from Warframe, they're effectively frames, but they have more personality. And you have your abilities, you have a passive, you got guns, you got mods, you have different things to boost your stats which way or another. It's great. You got an innate grapple hook. There's a lot of things. So I have some gripes, and this is going to be the majority of the video because as good of a, playing game it is, I have some issues. First off, the big one, performance. I do not have a weak PC at all. This PC can run Devil May Cry 5 at max settings, no stutters. This PC can run the Dead Space remake max setting, no stutters, or very few stutters. This PC is VR ready. This is a pretty up-to-date computer. However, the first Descendant has some FPS issues. Now, the beta didn't. If you go back and look at the videos, I did videos on the betas. There were no problems at all. The load times weren't even that long. There's no problems. But now that it's fully released, oh my god. I am getting frame rate drops during combat. I'm getting frame rate drops when the damn map is loading. When I'm warping to places, I'll sometimes get frame drops. When I'm going into a mission and joining a party, it's just instant. Like, no problem. But when I'm, say, jumping into just a new map or an old map that I'm revisiting for something or anything like that, the game chugs a bit. And I have gone through the settings. I made sure that everything was at like medium settings. I'm not going to go to low settings because it is blurry and it hurts my eyes. I turned off motion blur because that hurts my eyes and gives me a headache. And I did all of these things. I checked NVIDIA settings. I made sure my drivers are up to date. I made sure Windows is up to date. I made sure everything was just as it should be. And it is for all my other games. Hell, Halo Infinite, no stutters. Well, rare stutters. Like, very, very rare stutters. I think on Halo Infinite side, it's connection rather than just the game having a hiccup. I think it is just connection. But the first Descendant runs worse in the public, full 1.0 version than both the betas. I don't understand why, and it is a mystery that I have yet to solve. My personal opinion, it's bad optimization. Where they didn't optimize it correctly, and maybe they're patching it. Maybe they'll have like, get noticed like, a lot of players are saying that, especially on PC, for some reason, even with these top-end PCs, the game is being weird. Okay, let's look into this and fix it. I hope that's the case. I hope it is just bad optimization. If it's a server issue, I think that's probably more annoying. I will say, though, the servers had so much traffic that the game refused to connect to the servers for a while. That was absurd. But the hype and the flood of players will die down eventually. I think there was like 60,000 people in their Discord at one point or something like insane. Like that's a lot of people. And that's just in the Discord. So I don't really know what's going on. If you have a top end PC and you're getting frame drops, I'm right with you, and I want to know exactly why. If we're someone asked in the comments, uh, uh, what's this component of your PC? What's that component of your PC? How do you have everything set up? I cannot tell you because I am a Neanderthal when it comes to this sort of stuff. I'm just wondering if I can run some games like Halo Infinite at high settings with little to no stutters, constant 60 FPS because I have a an old 60 hertz monitor, I think it's called, or something like that. My PC, my monitor is restricted to 60 FPS because I have not changed my monitor in almost 10 years. I know it's tragedy, but I don't care. I will eventually get a new monitor. This one hasn't broken. That's why I didn't replace it. It's not broken. It still works. So, who knows? It could just be poor optimization or a number of different factors. Maybe there's still a lot of server traffic. Who knows? But I think my best guess is it is just poor optimization. And they can fix that, I'm sure. Patches will come out for the game eventually. So, there's that. So, other than that, what other gripes do I have? The inventory. So, when you're playing the game, you're picking up a lot of weapons and Descendant components, including like reactors and everything. Reactors are very important, and all the components are too. They boost your stats. Of course, they're important. You pick up so many of them. At start, you have a max of, I think it's 75 or 80 storage capacity. Now, that's not nearly enough. What they could do, here's a very simple solution. Just have each type of weapon, say tactical rifles, SMGs, and assault rifles, they all get their own category, and they stack to a max of, say, 100. And do the same thing for all of the other components, reactors, and everything else. That would be I think, a very solid solution to this. Now, you should dismantle all the stuff that you're not using, so you get that good Kuiper, basically endo, and there's also other things you can get for dismantling things. And the game by default will not let you dismantle legendary stuff, so that's cool. It's called Ultimate, but I'm gonna call it Legendary. I do not Ultimate gear doesn't sound right to me. Legendary gear sounds right to me. Anyway, another thing they can do is just have all of your stuff go into a storage bin automatically that you can access at a different menu at any time so it's not clogging your inventory. Something like that. But the stacking, I think, is also is a really good solution. Because playing through several missions at once, the enemies drop stuff like candy. There is so many different things. And mods, they don't stack either, but they have a default number you can store of 1200. And here's the thing though, mods do not drop nearly as much as the components, the reactors, the guns, and everything else. That's a little bass backwards, isn't it? Right? But whatever. This was my main gripe with the game in the playtest, and I'm wondering why they didn't change it. I'm sure a lot of people are like, wait a minute, this inventory gets full really fast, and it was worse on the beta because you only had like 60 spaces or something. So why? And plus, because there's things that we need in this game that are going to take at least a few runs to acquire, you're gonna fill your inventory with junk. And yes, you should say you get into the habit of scrapping all your old stuff. Yes, but that doesn't fix the problem. Because if you have a full inventory, you can't pick up new things. Yeah, that's annoying. So yeah, the first Descendant is a fantastic game. Once the game actually behaves itself and can actually, not chug along, especially during combat, I will record it. I absolutely will, even though no one's going to care if I record it or not. But I'm going to record it. I'm waiting, though. This would have just been a, mission or two playthrough video if the game actually ran well. But it doesn't. And recording it's going to make it even worse with Audacity opened and the NVIDIA game capture. Even though they're not super heavy on the CPU, it's still gonna mess things up. But whatever. It is free, so there's that. Do I recommend it? I don't think it's for everybody, but if you're a Warframe player that's just waiting for the next thing in Warframe to come out, yeah, it's a decent substitute. It's Warframe adjacent. It doesn't have the same, power fantasy of Warframe. It actually has challenge, which is a foreign concept to Warframe players. But it is a good game. It's, another looter shooter, but it's fun. Story is trash and the writing is trash, but the gameplay is fun. So, I do recommend it. Anyway, I just want the game better optimized, if that is the problem. I have a sneaking suspicion that it is, or I don't know. My friend Hal, he has a worse PC than mine, and he said he never really had an issue, and he loads in faster than me. Maybe it's because he has an SSD. If that's the case, then I'm literally fucked because I cannot afford an SSD. No, I do not have SSDs. I have hard drives because I needed the storage space. I have an 8 terabyte hard drive. I needed that. Anyway, so I just want the game to run better, and hopefully soon it will. Anyway, that's the first Descendant. Good game. Needs to be needs better optimization. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, in Trilby, we trust.